Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shadowed City podcast. This is Dark Side of Efeds, episode 4, episode 3. But this is episode 4, the Burnout issues, with my very special guest. When they arrive, I'm your host, Brandon. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Good stuff. Strongly suggest. And of course, as always, a Pepsi. We wait upon my guests, wherever they may be. But I do hope everybody's having a great day, good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you all may be. And as you know, with these lives, for Dark City Efeds especially, we're not in character. This is out of character. Real life issues, real life discussions being brought to light. Welcome.
PC's being weird, so I've got to use my phone.
Yeah, it won't let you join on computer. It won't let you join on computer. Like, it won't let anybody join on computer on my end. I'm just letting you know now.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I need to, once I get more advanced like tools and stuff, I'm not going to be on like streaming from Facebook probably. I'm probably going to be streaming from this thing called StreamYard in the eventual future. But for now, I have
But then
Facebook.
again, there should have been a door to the basement, and there's not.
Your camera is black on my end, but that's okay.
Yeah. Everybody else can see us though. It does that for some reason. I don't know why. It wasn't like that when we were first starting out these lives, like when I first started, but now it's like that. But everybody else can see us as they join in the live. You know what I'm saying?
Facebook's dumb.
Yeah. Technology is never our friend, as I say. But I was just discussing with the people how this is, we are not in character for this. We are out of character talking about real life issues and discussion.
Let me get this set up a little more comfortably.
Yeah. Take your time. Take your time.
I just got my gamer subs in, so I'm very happy.
I'm happy for you, and I'm happy we were able to get this happening today. I know you've been very hyped for this.
Yeah, despite nervousness, but yes.
We are here to support you. There's always been support in my chats, and if anybody does like say something that catches you off guard or hurts your feelings, just like I said, this is out of character stuff. Like, I don't want you to, if you feel like somebody's disrespecting you or anything, I'll calm them down. But most people that come in here are very respectful.
Okay.
What we got right?
I'm good with that. You'll hear
Yeah.
background stuff. Wolfie's playing Phasmo with bugs, so.
Oh, Phasmophobia.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. A good horror game. I just saw me a movie based on a horror game called Iron Lung with Markiplier. Not bad.
Yes,
Not
how
bad.
is that?
Well, I thought it was incredible personally. I thought it was a good take on it. It was a very thrilling ride that got me intensified the whole entire thing, and I'm glad I got to see it. And I think it's really well worth it. And there was a lot of blood, like it said in the trailer. There's a lot more blood than most, and I'm like, there is a lot of blood in this film. So if you go watch it or wait for it to come out, please definitely go try it yourself. You know.
I've been thinking about seeing it because I've been a big fan of Mark since he was around, and him and Jack both, honestly. So I might check it out. It may not be in theaters, but I'll check it out.
You're talking about Jack as in Jacksepticeye?
Yes.
Ah. They gather up sometimes with other YouTubers to play Among Us and such.
Here and there they do, not
Yeah.
as much as they used to now. They're just so busy and their schedules conflict a lot. So
Oh yeah, no doubt. And they became like big time famous, I would imagine now. Like they're some of the highest rated people on YouTube.
yes,
Yes.
but
Well,
I'm ready whenever you are.
all right. So I think we'll get the ball rolling by starting with what you were talking to me a little bit about before. Welcome, Logan Slater. Welcome, sir. Hope you're well.
Sally died.
Huh?
Sally
We were
died.
talking a little bit about a
Oh
company
no.
you had called
Well,
WCWF. Is
there
that
was
what it was
another
called?
death too.
Yes, but we have to go back a little
Oh,
ways first.
okay,
It
okay,
wasn't called WCWF at first.
okay.
That came after, let's say the owner's name is Haven because that was his EFED name he went by at the time. When
Yes.
he got too busy uh, in real life to run said EFED, he changed it to me, and WCWF was a name that I and my cousin came up with when we were very, very little. We were always wrestling fans. It's been a part of our blood ever since we were 3. Okay, my first favorite superstar was Jake the Snake Roberts before I found Taker, and uh, we knew superstars by their name and theme songs before we even knew our ABCs. So WCWF came uh, out of our love for wrestling and playing with our wrestling figures. We had both WCW figures and WWF at the time figures, so we just combined both companies' names into WCWF, and it stood for World Championship Wrestling Federation. So we fast forward to um, the first EFED. Well, actually, let's go back to when I was in high school. Um, Actually, elementary up to high school, I would fluctuate many times telling teachers what I wanted to be when I grew up. A lot of times it was voice actor, video game creator, wrestler, actor, etc. What's the common theme there?
They're all, depending on how you look at it, acting in a sense.
Acting and entertainment. What is
Yes.
one of the biggest things in wrestling?
Creating an illusion.
Acting, um, what they call selling, of course.
Ah, that's the word. That's the word.
Yes,
Yes.
selling. So ever since I was little, I was very much in love with wrestling and the pageantry of it, but I always gravitated more towards the unorthodox characters, let's just say. So high school came around. My mother was actually going to sign me up for Bill Dundee's wrestling school. I was actually going
Ooh.
to go, but I injured my knee,
Oh.
and it hasn't been right since. Hold on, I got a dog trying to shift and get into position. Where do you want to go,
No
Lola?
worries.
Right into my lap. Okay. Say hi, Lola.
Hi,
Little
dog.
fuzzy.
Hello. Hello.
But when I injured my knee, um, I went to the doctors and they said it was a partial tear of the ACL. However, they didn't want to do surgery on it, so my knee has not been right ever since. And I've naturally been afraid to try to even attempt to go into wrestling. So, for a while, from about 2006 to 2016, there was a void. I would still watch wrestling. I would play the games, but at that time, the games started going down in quality. I think we
Oh,
both know this. Uh, 2K19 was probably the last great one for the 2K series,
mm.
and before 2K got a hold of the game franchise, it was SmackDown versus Raw. Here comes the pain. We all know that one.
Oh yeah.
Um, or is it SmackDown? Here comes the pain.
It
Either way,
was
you know what I'm
SmackDown. Here
talking
comes the
about.
pain. It was SmackDown. Here comes the pain. I know which one you're
Yeah.
talking about. Then I believe they also had a SmackDown versus Raw come out later in like
hmm
2004 or five.
Something like
Yeah.
that. So I would play the games and I would make my created characters. I rarely ever played the actual superstars on the roster because there was that drive and that, I guess, need to want to be a wrestler. So, as I said, from about 2006 to 16, there was that void. The games were fun and all, but I wanted something more. And at until 2016, I had never heard of e-fedding. So a friend of mine came to me and said, I'm going to start an e-fed company. And how it works is we're going to have it as a written e-fed instead of relying on the games because not everybody can afford the games or has the consoles to make their superstars and stuff. So naturally, I was intrigued, and I would already write fan fictions and stuff for things that I liked. So that was already right in my category. So I asked him, "Well, how is this going to work?" And he said, "Simply, you create your wrestler profile, and you put it in the profile section on our Facebook group, and then once I approve it." You'll go in and you'll look at the card that I've got set up for the next show and you'll promo against your opponent. Whoever has the best promo voted on by management in an unbiased setting wins the match. Management writes the matches during the shows and we let you all read them. Cool. This gives me a chance to create a superstar, actually promo, and kind of live a pseudo wrestler life. So naturally, I joined. That's where Kaida and Scylla were both born. Because I had asked him, at the time, we had nothing but male roster. We had maybe one or two females, and I asked him, would it be a problem if I helped out the females? And made a couple female characters. He's like, no, go right ahead. I encourage it. So as I was sitting thinking, well, what characters do I want to make? I remembered growing up, I was always intrigued by the rivalry of Alundra Blaze and Bull Nakano. And I thought to myself, what if in this fantasy world they had a couple of daughters and we swapped their alignments? So when Alundra and Bull Nakano were doing their rivalries, Bull was typically the heel, and Alundra, or Medusa, however you want to call her, was the face. So
Yeah.
what if the daughters switched, and they grew up as good friends loving wrestling? There they came in. Scylla, her name came from the Greek mythologies of Medusa's sister. I think it's sister anyway. Her name was Scylla. And Kaida came about when I was researching, just random female names, and it literally translates to Little Dragon. And I was like, okay, this works because I'm going to have Kaida be a protege of Ultimo Dragon. I'm sure you know him.
Yes.
So that's kind of the very abridged version of Scylla and Kaida's origin. So in this eFed, unlike a lot of the other eFeds and the games would allow at the time, we were doing intergender matches before 2K25 even allowed that to happen. So Scylla has fought against some of the best. She's fought, Scylla and Kaida, excuse me. They both have fought against the likes of Diamond Scotty Blaze. They have fought against um, Hot Shot at the time, who got rebranded as Mordeo. That was my idea. I was helping a gentleman rebrand his character because the Hot Shot was not working for him. Of course, Diamond Scotty Blaze came about from me as well, helping Billy. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me name dropping him. He originally had his character Obscurum. Scylla and Kaida also fought some of the greats like Haven, Disciple of Metal in that company. So there were several that I have fought, including Vile. So he was part of WCWF. But anyway, I'm getting off on a completely different tangent. When Haven asked me to become the owner or part owner of WCWF, because he would come in every now and then, he asked me to run it as my own show. So I did. And taking what he started, I evolved it into something greater. I was writing 2 shows a week. I was coming up with the cards. I was reading everybody's promos. All the while, I was doing promos for my own characters. And I developed a system where I would pick randomly people who were not on the cards that week to vote on their promos, to where there was no favoritism involved or people thinking that I was going to pick my character overall. And that all worked well until we had one guy come in. His ring name is Ryswag. Now, he started out not bad, but eventually it came to the point where I was needing help. I was needing help writing. I couldn't keep up with it because life just, it was rough. I was in between jobs. I was searching for jobs. I was working. I was doing projects around the house, helping my mom and dad at the time. So it just became very, very overwhelming to run WCWF. So for a while, I had Ryswag run one show and me run the other. And that's where the bad starts. Ryswag was the complete opposite of me. He would book himself in matches, like big tier matches. He wouldn't even try to earn it. And he would promo, and he wouldn't have people vote on him. He would pick the promos, which more often than not, he would pick himself to win his matches. Him and Blair Abercrombie, which, on a side note, we didn't find out till way later that Blair and Ryswag were one and the same. We believed for the longest of time that Blair was a completely different person. So with that in mind, he would have Blair squash upcoming talent. She would be just sadistic in ways that was not good. Like, he would be overly sexual about things. He would, as Blair more often than Ryswag himself, put down and abuse the other superstars, not just in character, but for real too. I'm not going to say his name. You know who he is, and he's said it himself a few times that he's been scarred by this. It was really, really bad. And this also goes into the whole burnout. For a while, I couldn't address it because I was so busy all the time. And it got to the point where several of my superstars, they wanted to leave. And when I would question them as to why, it would always come back to the way Blair and Ricewag were doing things. Um, so eventually, I did kick out Ricewag and Blair themselves, and they took it upon themselves to go to the next company I'll talk about when I'm done with WCWF, NCW, and badmouth WCWF, the superstars there, and myself. So you can see where everything was starting to turn sour and
He was
starting
getting
to
mad
get.
over this stipulate because he was mad because he went somewhere else and now he just started to bash y'all.
Yes, he was retaliating. And he caused it all himself, you know.
Yep.
I've always been one that was fair. If somebody out promoted Kaida, okay, great. I'm happy for him. Sure, you're going to win. I went through a 3 stages of hell match with Mordeo. And that's another thing. It took so much time to write out these matches in detail. And they would get like really descriptive. Um I would go from lockup to headlock. I would write it all. I was a one man act here. So with that in mind, you could see how much time it could take, right? Like
Yes.
I want to ask you a question. How just for fun, how many hours do you think I spent promoing, writing matches, writing cards, reading people's promos, helping people to get storylines started? How many hours do you think I did that in a week?
In a week? I would have to say it had to take quite a bit, so I would have to say maybe since there's 24 hours in a day, probably half of that, if not more.
Try about 80 hours a week. It was like having a full-time job with overtime.
Wow,
When
that's
I
crazy.
wasn't when I wasn't writing, I was thinking about it. When I wasn't thinking about it, I was writing it. When I was sleeping, I was seeing it in my mind. I was thinking about it. At work, I was constantly thinking about it. I was
You
literally
were
on my
thinking about
phone.
24/7.
Yes, I was on the phone reading promos. I had literally no time for gaming. I had no time for guitar playing. I lost a lot of passion for other hobbies that I had because of how much I had to do for WCWF. And again, I was a one man act. I was doing it all. I was finding artwork for people, artwork for arenas. I was finding theme songs for the premium shows. I was finding and making videos here and there on certain matches. Like you could literally go back on the Facebook place. I haven't deleted WCWF group, and you could literally go back and see promo videos for Kaida, promo videos for Hotshot, promo videos here, there, most of which, when people sent in, I had to download and redo and enhance the volume and whatnot so it could be heard or it was clearer. I had to do a lot of that. So I was literally a full-time production crew for this EFED. And it eventually got to the point where after I fired Ricewag and Blair, the damage was done. Morality was down, and I tried everything I could to get people back in. And I tried to find that drive for myself to keep going and keep doing. and I just couldn't. Even today, I've got people asking, like from WCWF. I've had people before ask me, when can we bring it back? And to those of you who may be watching or see this later, I'm going to go on record and say, as of right now, there is no WCWF coming back. Okay? The only way it would come back would be in a completely different format. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I've got too much in my life right now. I have found who I am again. I've found a lot of happiness. I can't devote the time and energy into WCWF that would be needed. And it's hard to trust other people to try to run that and recapture lightning in the bottle. So eventually, I finally shut down WCWF. So here I was looking for another place to fill in that void, that love of wrestling, and to be a player, not a developer. I wanted to be just a wrestler. I didn't want all the responsibility. In comes NCW. Now, I was only there for a very short time. I didn't get the opportunities I needed to as, hold
See your face.
on, well, Wolfie is saying that they can't see my face, even though I can see it on my camera.
I'm trying both.
Is that a common issue?
Is your camera like just turned off or is it turned on? Like
No, it's on. I can see myself.
when she says she can't see you, like what? Like is your icon showing or is it literally they can't see you?
I'm guessing it just can't see me. Is it a black screen?
Huh. Well, after
Babe,
this
is it a
video,
black
it should
screen?
be
See
able to
your
be
face now.
seen, but
Oh, you can see my face.
Just couldn't see your face.
Oh, flip on that light then, because it's dark in here.
No, it wasn't
oh,
at your face. It was at your chest.
How about this? Better? Well, shoot. Hang on.
no problem, no problem.
I don't want to have to hold it the entire time.
Lean it against your drink.
How's that? Better? On yours?
You still just see your chest and stuff, so it's weird.
Now?
I can see your face now. You're just sideways.
What the
Welcome
hey?
Raquel, welcome Baron Knight, welcome Philip Thomas, welcome Sister
Try
Mary.
that. How's that? Did it realign?
You see half of it. Like, yeah, that's good.
Okay. What the hey?
Technology is never our friend, so I understand the issues.
Well, I'm just going to have to do it a certain way because I got the headphone socket here. Let's,
On the TV screen.
how about that? How's that?
Can you go a little bit? Wait, hold on. Hold on, wait. A little bit more and you got it.
How's that?
Good enough. Good enough.
Okay. So I was just starting to talk about NCW, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there was.
WCWF wasn't coming back.
You're behind, aren't you?
Hmm?
Are you behind on the
Mhm.
audio?
It's laggy on my end.
Oh, okay. So, in
Welcome,
NCW,
friend.
I didn't get to play Kaida and Scylla. I had to play as my male character that I had been playing in WCWF as well in Enigma, which would eventually become Scylla's husband and ex-husband now, but that's completely off tangent. So Enigma in NCW did not get very much opportunity at all. Matter of fact, he was part of a faction, Dark Brotherhood, I believe is what it was called. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he was part of it with Hotshot, aka Mordeo, and several other superstars that were more or less outcasts. Ricewag was a big part of this company. It wasn't him that had invited me, but somebody like the owner himself had invited me. And I wouldn't find out till way later that the owner and Ricewag were pretty much best friends.
Oh,
And Ricewag was the reason I wasn't getting a lot of opportunities. My promos, even though some of them were better than others, didn't count. So when I found all that out, I left NCW. And this was in the span of like 2 months. I wasn't there very long at all. So fast forward about 3 months after NCW, I took a much, much needed break from EFED in general. And I decided to step back in, but I didn't want to go into written EFEDs anymore because it took way too much time, even as a player. You know, I was constantly on my phone checking promos, and when I would try to get a storyline started, it would oftentimes get lost because there was so much going on. It was not organized in any way. So I started doing some research on, just EFEDs in general. And I got an invite from a place called C2CW. And I'm
oh
sure
boy.
yeah, we're fixing to get into some real heavy shit here. So, I don't remember who I got the invite from. I'm trying to remember, and I just can't. I want to say it came from David himself.
You
It
know
was
how he
somebody.
found you? Did he watch your stuff or something, or like how did he find you?
I think they found us through NCW or
Okay.
WCW. Either one of those they would have found me through because my Facebook eFed WCWF was big. Like it literally, you would type in WCWF and that would be the first thing that would pop up. That's how big it was. That's how well I had done that. Um, I think wasn't Wolfie part of WCWF for a very short time?
No.
No, okay, I wasn't sure because
Didn't even hear about it until I met you.
okay, I couldn't remember if I had WCWF going a little bit on the side with C2CW or not. But anyway, we get to C2CW and um, I get to talking to David and Eva, otherwise known as Blue and Feisty, and their words, they can draw you in, and it's just about like honey. You're drawn in, and it's sweet, sweet, sweet. They make you uh they make you these offers. They say these words. They tell you exactly what you want to hear, and that's what happened to me. So I asked them because they needed help with the female division at the time. Could I bring in Kaida and Scylla? And of course they said yes. So Kaida started having a pretty good rivalry with Luna and Eva, because those were the other only two. I think Vextra was there at the time as well when I first got started. I was one of the originals for C2CW. Not the prior company that they were running, but when they made C2CW, I was one of the first to be brought in.
Wow.
And I had brought in uh, Diamond Scotty Blaze as well. I brought in Mordeo, and I brought in Vile for C2CW. I brought in people that trusted me that were personal friends of me in real life, telling them, look, WCWF may be down, but this place is great, because I was able to play my character. I was having fun doing so, and I didn't have to write out the matches because they were doing the matches on the e-fetting, and that was something else I had to learn. I was like, how does this work? How are the matches determined? They're like, just AI. You write your stories based on the results of the AI. It's a bit bass backwards, typically in wrestling, and I'm kind of raising the curtain here. Typically in wrestling, you have outcomes that are predetermined. The promos help build the story, help build up the matches, but the results are predetermined. Do not say that wrestling is fake, because it's not. The risks that these superstars take with their bodies, with their mind, with their days on the road and stuff is very real. It's very grueling. It's very hard. So wrestling is not fake. It is predetermined. Same for what WCWF was. I would have all my results predetermined in my head at least a day or two before the matches were written out. C2CW was different. We would go in, we would promo, RP our characters, and whatever happened on the game, the AI, is what happened, and we got to react to that. So it's bass backwards, but it made for compelling stories. I had some really, really good rivalries with our own Wolfie there. She had a really interesting character, and there's a lot of story there. We, at the beginning in C2CW, hated each other. Me as Kaida, I was always on her case about her role-playing and stuff like that, and her etiquette when it came to her getting involved with stories that didn't involve her. And she took offense to that. So it's kind of funny how years later we're together now in real life, and my character Scylla is with Wolfie for real, and Kaida has become great friends with Wolfie. That's the only good thing I could say came out of C2CW when it comes to us, is it brought me and her together. Behind the scenes, even though I was doing all this stuff, I was bringing people in to help Blue out, I was helping write these stories. I was literally at one time the leader and helping keep up with the stories that was going on. I held a lot of hats in that company, and I did everything that a boss would love a superstar to do, but it was never enough. Especially when I started calling out his mistakes. I started calling out his hypocrisies. Like here's a really good example, right? He hated anybody telling mama jokes or bringing, things like that in. There were certain jokes you just would not do as a player. However, he would turn around and do those jokes, and when people would get mad at him, tell him, hey, you made this ruling to where you're not allowed to do that. He'd be like, oh my God, it's just a game. You're taking it too serious, or you're being too soft. He used that one on me a lot. You're being too soft. You need to toughen up. Okay, which is it? Do you want to show love and be respectful to the people in your company? And do you want to be fair, or do you want to just be extreme and go everywhere and do anything and everything? Which one is it? Blue and Eva wanted their cake and to eat it too. Does that make sense?
Did you say cake?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I thought I heard
They,
that correctly. I see what you're saying.
yeah, they wanted they wanted control over everything. Everything that they did was fine. Everything that their hand chosen favorites did was fine. But when you get somebody like myself, Wolfie, or people that were outside of their loop doing similar things, oh no, we can't do it. It was straight hypocrisy. Um, so I had asked you if you had questions and stuff, and I could typically answer better if you have certain questions. So I'm going to shut up a minute, catch my breath, and listen to you a minute.
Okay. You're fine. I was listening to your story. I love this. I'm glad that you're able to express this. I'm glad that you're not holding it in, and I'm glad that you're actually able to get this out. I do want to take a minute to say welcome to people that have joined in. AJ, welcome, welcome
Hi,
BPW,
folks.
welcome Mom, welcome Billy, hello everybody, welcome KD, welcome everybody. When it comes to questions, as you were talking about the stuff happening in C2CW, I know that you and I had some personal talks about this beforehand. What is it that broke the camel's back? Do you want to go into that?
What broke the camel's back for me and separating me from C2CW was how the overall treatment of the women were and the superstars in general. Okay. There are people like Kyle Burton, Jay Money, who would literally objectify the women in really bad ways. And being treated as a total outcast and too soft to be in that company, to taking it too personally, and no matter what I did, it was wrong. It was completely wrong. Everything that I ever did to try to help David, it was never good enough. It was never ever good enough. He himself is one of the biggest reasons I left, because he is outright a bully. If you are not part of his group, if you are not grown up with him, if you don't kiss his ass and act like he is the greatest thing walking God's green earth, you will not get anywhere with him. I heard recently even some of his closest people don't want to be affiliated with him anymore. That should tell you something. David literally became from somebody who wanted to have a good company, have a good time, to a straight up tyrant. He literally became a tyrant in every sense of the word. With
Whatever,
that in
it's
mind,
his way or the highway, basically.
exactly, his way or the highway. No other way could be done. And it wasn't just in character and out of character treatment of the people in the WCWF. It's the things that me and Wolfie witnessed firsthand in real life calls, and the way he would treat people in real life. And I'm not going to go into that. That's not my story to tell. But when she got sick, and I didn't learn about this till recently, the only reason that Eva and Blue was there for her was because Eva wasn't there for her dad when he got sick. Is that right? Is that what was told recently? Yeah, I thought so. And unlike Eva, I was the one that sat beside Wolfie the most after her surgery. I was there from the get-go. Why? Because I genuinely cared. We wasn't even dating at the time. We were just talking as friends at the time. And it's because I genuinely cared. And you can ask other people in C2CW. You can ask people in our own company that was part of C2CW. If something was wrong, I would at least ask, hey, are you okay? Billy, I see you in there. He was one of them I would ask from time to time, are you all right? I brought him into C2CW.
He says you're
And
looking good, by the way.
I appreciate that. I've been working on it, see? Um, but yeah, Blue, the hypocrisy and just downright being a bully is why I left C2CW. And I'm going to tell this story. And this is when me and Wolfie had finally started dating. I don't think we were engaged at the time. If we were, it was very, very shortly afterwards. But I had been going to see my family for Christmas, not this past year, but the previous year. And I was driving through Nashville. I was the one doing the driving. And at that time, she was still in contact with C2CW here and there. And Blue literally started bad mouthing my family, my blood family, telling Wolfie that I didn't know what love was, that my family didn't know what love was, that we were liars. And I'm going to backtrack before that, even. There was a superstar in C2CW called Sam Hain. And he, for the longest time, hated my guts. He literally thought that I was a child molester. Okay, so where did that come in? I have no idea. But I'm pretty sure that when Blue or somebody in C2CW was angry at me, they started spreading rumors. They did that a lot in C2CW. They spread rumors. They'd start talking bad about people.
They would start
Just
rumors just because you weren't bending over backwards for them.
just because you wasn't kissing their ass. Just because
Yeah.
you stood up to management and whatnot. They would start rumors. They would put down your characters. They would put down anything and everything you would do. It took Wolfie in a private call with Sam Hain to get him and me to talk to find out that he thought that I had been a child molester and he hated me for that. And obviously I am not. I get sick just thinking of the thought of somebody hurting a child like that, okay? I've got a niece of my own that I absolutely love, okay? And she thinks I hang the moon. And she's gotten to where she likes Aunt Mary, okay? I could never raise my hand or anything else to harm a child, especially in that way. So when you start slandering people in real life, just because you don't get your way in a game or somebody calls out your own hypocrisy, that's where it's wrong. So when he started bashing my family, because I had been thinking at the time of going back, right? When he started bashing my family, putting me and Wolfie and our relationship down, that was it. I literally, my hands on that steering wheel would have broken the steering wheel had she not started calming me down, because there was whites of my knuckles showing. I was cussing the whole way to my families, and I was seething mad. Seething mad. That's how angry I was at that whole situation, because he doesn't know my family. I'm very close with my family. Always have been. Say what you want about me, but don't you say anything about my family. And I thought that was an understanding that he had in common with me in C2CW, and yet he's the one that's going to say things like that or make your mama jokes, even though he got mad when somebody made a joke about his mama. You know, you see where the double standards are here, right? It's not just
I
me.
I see a lot of hypocrisy from his end, and I've heard about a lot of it from a lot of people.
Yeah, so I'm not the only one to bring all this up.
Well, Billy actually
Um,
did. He did. Sorry to cut you off, but he did say this. I can corroborate that K-Pac was always there for me, and yes, I followed him into that place. I think he's referring to C2CW. I'm a
mhm,
WCWF original and proud.
he is. I I met Billy slightly before WCWF, and I helped bring him in. Um, Vexy, I see you watching. Great to see you.
Welcome,
Um,
Vet. Welcome, Shane. Welcome.
but yeah, C2CW. I'm just going to call it what it is. It's a cesspool. It is a cesspool of toxicity. And if it's not from Blue, it's from people like Kyle Burton. It's from people like J Money. It's from people like Smoke, who was there for a short bit. Uh, there's several. I'm even going to say Nico is part of that toxicity. Okay.
You're talking about Jedi. Yeah,
hmm
I
He's very
remember
much
that.
part of that. Um, it, it's literally a cesspool of absolute hypocrisy, and there's just no other way to put it at C2CW. You want to talk dark side of Efeds? Go there. You'll see exactly what we're talking about. Dark side. You can't you can't make a story without Blue twisting it. You can't say or do anything without him twisting your words and using I'm not an instigator, I'm an alligator, or whatever it is he would say. He would
Yeah.
literally take no accountability for his actions. He was never in the wrong. Eva was never in the wrong when it came to stuff in C2CW. Unless she was going against him, then she was always wrong. You know, and we would hear them arguing with each other in the live streams of all places. He would be going live and they would be arguing like freaking cats and dogs. You know, it was, it's bad. It's bad over there. And it didn't start out that way. It was actually fun before he started getting bigger numbers and bigger viewers. When he started getting the viewers and he started getting the publicity and getting those numbers, that's when everything changed. You know, that's kind of a curse of showbiz or whatever you want to call it. You know, you get the viewers, you change. I can honestly pride myself as saying that when I was streaming more, I didn't change because of my viewers. I thanked them and I understood that without them, there was no K-pop gaming at the time and stuff. I've not been streaming in a very long time, but you know, the whole thing is when you start getting those numbers and you start getting that attention in the EFED world, it does change some people, and Blue and C2CW was among those.
You were not going to let games change the way you treat people or others because you actually care for other people's feelings.
Exactly. And Blue and Eva, they could care less about people's feelings. They would manipulate. They would do anything they could to get their way. And
Welcome,
it's
Chris
not,
Cleve. Welcome, Deanie.
yeah, it wasn't just them. There were other people in uh, C2CW like that. Kyle Burton is one of the biggest ones who will do that, and uh, Blue encourages it. Blue is like, oh, he's just being a heel. He's just being a bad guy. He's the best heel we've got. No. Being a heel doesn't mean you're being disrespectful and an asshole and a dick in real life. All right? It doesn't mean that you have a free pass to go and hit on every woman that comes in there. It doesn't give you a free pass to want to steal your girl, you know. It doesn't give you a free pass to be a chauvinistic pig. Right.
Was he always trying to get on top of women, basically, is what you're saying?
Yep, him and J Money both. They both were like that, and Smoke was like that. I don't know if he's part of it still, but all three of them were like that. And Blue has his own way of flirting with the women and trying to get with them, even though he's with Eva. Now, what does that tell you? I mean, even Eva's character in there is supposed to be with Spicy, which is Blue's character.
I thought
Okay.
Spicy was a dick from what I've been hearing, but damn, I must be mistaken.
Yeah, he's worse. Anyway.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's a cesspool there, and there's so many. There's a way to be a heel and still be respectful, and there's a way to just be an outright asshole. I could play a heel all day long, in character, and you could ask anybody out of character, is he like that for real? And they'll be like, no, he's not. Whereas if you go with Smoke or J Money or Kyle Burton, you asked him, is he like that in real life? Yes, he is. He very much is. And Blue is right there with him. Blue is right there with him. He encourages it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He encourages it.
Yeah.
Anything that gets him to laugh and, put people down, he likes. Anything in the world that is going to ridicule somebody or even get a rise out of somebody, he likes. Okay, I get it. Wrestling, you want to get a rise out of people. It's built on conflict. Matches are conflict. You get a rise out of people, but there's a way to do it professionally and not, personally. And then there's taking shots like people in C2CW do.
Yeah. And even after the fact of you guys going on from C2CW, I believe you told me about some reports of you guys have even been harassed by them per se, like threats or whatnot from them even after you guys leaving, with them like still bothering you even after so long of you guys being gone from there.
Yeah, that I think I reflected on that earlier when I told you a story about how he was bashing my family, my real family.
And that was after you guys left. That wasn't like during your time in there.
We were in a time where I had left, but Wolfie was still a small part of it, right?
Oh, okay.
When that happened, that's when she cut ties. I cut ties before then and vowed never to go back. The minute that he kept calling me soft and literally told me that, I needed to get tougher skin and whatnot, and that I take things too personally just because I stood up for some of the women and other people there that he was bullying, and I called him out on him changing sliders and stuff. Here, you want to know the summary of a C2CW match, right?
Yeah.
You get 5 seconds of one person's intro, and if he's bored, he skips it. Okay, so what is one of the first things that draws you into a wrestler's persona? It's their entrance, right?
Depending on how people look at it, I guess so, but also at the same time, music also helps. But sometimes there are those without music that have also been intriguing, like Chris Cole. Yeah.
Presentation of your character from the start to finish, right? From your entrance to your match to your exit. You have to be drawn in. What is one of the biggest things people work on in Efeds aside from their movesets? It's their entrance. It's getting it right. How many hours have you spent to get your character's entrances just right?
I don't make them myself. People do this for me, so I've always been grateful for what I've been given, as I don't own the system.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a rough estimate of how long it takes me just to do one entrance and get it right. I have worked on entrances up to 4 hours just to get them right. 4 hours, that's a long time. I have literally spent days working on characters at times.
Yeah.
There are people who take a lot of pride in what they do with their superstars. And some entrances used to, for example, if you spent 3 hours on one entrance, right, to get your character and your persona just right, how would you feel if he only played 5 seconds of it or skipped it entirely?
So he doesn't show the whole entrance if he doesn't like you, basically.
I didn't say that. Just
Okay.
just answer my question for me. How would you feel if he skipped an entrance you worked hard on?
I mean, I don't really take that to heart. Like, I guess, I don't know, people see it
Okay.
differently.
Some people are different.
I've seen people skip scenes so they could get to the matches. If they skip it, they skip it.
Okay.
But I
So
guess you feel differently, I would assume.
I do, because I take a lot of pride in what I do. I put my heart into the characters. Those characters, Kaida and Scylla, is a part of me, right? So
Well, I hope so.
when here's how I feel about it, and I don't know if other people are this way or if it's just something about me. If I'm going to put the effort and time into making my entrances and everything about my character draw viewers in for the benefit of your company, I want to see my work. Okay? That's anybody. Okay? So oftentimes he would skip my entrance and then he would play the full entrance of somebody that was in his clique. I'm going to give you an example, right? Okay. So when Bray Wyatt first came back with the door entrance and everything, all right, I get it. It's annoying when everybody's got the same intro and it's long. I get that. But Zach was the first person to use it, and he asked
Okay.
if he could use it. Okay? He didn't even get to watch it the first time because Blue was like, it's too long. It's too long. And yet he would let Spicy Rico come in with his Goldberg entrance, all the flashing lights, all the sparks and everything on the ramp, all the dancing and everything down the ramp into the ring. He would play his and other people's in his clique's entrance, and to hell with everybody else's entrance. That's just one thing. The other
Yeah.
thing, and he will deny this to the day that he dies. But I was in the management meeting when he said this. He said that he alters the matches, people's health, and other bars to make the matches faster because he doesn't want to sit through 4 or 5 hours of a show for matches to play out. So when you do that, you literally rob the AI and the people who created their characters of their characters' full potential.
You're just
For the
giving them,
long,
it's just like, it's taken away from who they are.
exactly, it's taking away
Yeah.
from how good a match could be. Kaida and Wolfie could have been in a match that tore down the house, but you know what? It was a squash match. They had two matches. Each one was in a squash match. Kaida beat her badly once. Wolfie beat Kaida badly once. You would think it would be a more even match, right? Just based off of that alone. If each has a squash match, if they were at their full potential, you would think that they would put on an epic match, right?
Yeah.
Not in C2CW. In C2CW, if your singles match, let's put it that way, if your singles match goes over 7 minutes, it's too long. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
But he'll throw in all these rumbles. He'll throw in all these multi-man matches to get all his people on the roster and have these long ass, drawn out Iron Man matches that are 15, 30, even an hour long Iron match I've seen there. If he likes you. If he doesn't like you, you could hang that up. You could hang up any opportunity for a big match like that if he doesn't like you.
Yeah. He only provides for people that he thinks will follow him.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. If you kiss his ass and kiss the feet he walks on, he'll give you anything you want. But
you
if
were
you
not one
go
to do that.
against
You were one to tell it straight.
that, and I fought for the people. I fought for, equality of treatment and nobody to be bullied or feel like they didn't belong. Yeah, Billy's got a good example there. Do you mind reading that for us?
Yes, and he also said he would get people's music style wrong. Steven agreed with him, and Billy said he literally said, "Yeah, we can do that." When Katie and I asked for a one-on-one match for fun, he twisted it up and turned it into a four-way.
So if you're getting people agreeing with me, there's something to that, right?
Yeah.
I'm lifting the veil and I'm talking about all this. It's bad over there. You want to talk about dark side of the Efed? That's it. That's it. You'll get these owners who think their shit don't stink, who knows what's best. The Vince McMahons of the Efed worlds that literally feel like they can do no wrong. And they will step on anybody and everybody to get their story, their actions, and justify what they want done instead of looking at people who put time in developing their personas and characters. I can't tell you how many times Kaida was called Asuka clone. Okay, yes, I admit it. I based Kaida off of Asuka, her looks and her moves at first. But over time, I had developed Kaida, gave her her own persona, her own looks, and her own moves. There's moves that she does now that wasn't in C2CW before. Okay? Scylla was always her own look. I based her looks off Cameron Diaz, and this goes all the way back to WCWF. We didn't have video games to base our characters off of or make our characters in. We found pictures of our characters and who we drew inspiration from. Disciple of Metal, I respect the guy so much. But his character, his looks, his actions were all based off of Chris Jericho. Okay? Nobody ever pointed it out. Nobody was like, oh, you're just a Chris Jericho clone. You're just a this clone. You're just a that clone. We never did that in WCWF because we respected everybody. We saw it as, okay, your character, yes, they have these similarities, and they're paying tribute to your inspiration, whoever that may be. But we never called them a clone of somebody else. And Mary's exactly right. There are a lot of feds that have dark sides, not just C2CW, but I haven't been in a lot of them. I've been in maybe 3 or 4 E-feds in total. Right.
Everywhere
I've
has
been
a dark
in.
side. Even if it's every EFED
Yeah.
has a dark side.
Yeah, but y'all wanted me to come on here, and I volunteered actually to come on here and tell the story.
Well, the
I'm going
offer
to
was
tell
there.
from,
Like, I knew that you guys
yeah,
were some people that wanted to be on, so that's why I dropped the offer to you, and here we are today.
yeah, and I'm going to tell you, my experience, even if I don't have a lot of them. But C2CW it's a whole other beast. It's not a place that I would ever consider going back to. You couldn't pay me enough to go back there. You could tell me that Blue dropped his company to somebody else and I would still not go back because of the experience I've had, the people, and the atmosphere that has been developed there. I will never go back to C2CW, ever. And I hope that they do watch this and they actually do hear it from me. I will never go back to C2CW. I have found a new home and I'm very happy. And I will even say this. Thank you for C2CW for letting me meet my now wife. That's the only good thing I can say about C2CW.
I was there at the wedding. I was over camera,
Most
but I was there.
everybody, most everybody in this chat
Yeah.
were.
Yes, that is a very good fact, and that was a beautiful ceremony. I remember it clearly in my head. It was a beautiful ceremony. And Billy also went on with what you said. DSB looks like an 80s rocker. He has him coming out to fucking hip hop. No offense to those who like it, but does DSB look like a hip hopper?
That's my point.
Yeah.
People. I've helped Billy develop Diamond Scotty Blaze as far back as WCWF,
You
even
also
up
helped Vio.
to do what now?
You also helped Vio at a time, I believe, right?
I did, and you can ask anybody in the current EFED or anybody in this chat if you wanted me to help you create your character, I would. You yourself asked me to make Dr. Gilthorpe the first version of him.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes, yes.
And I did, and you loved
Yeah.
him.
I loved it. I absolutely did. I love what you gave him with the doctor's outfit and everything and how he had that clown look. I really loved that. It reminded me of like another Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal. Yeah.
I didn't think about it, but yeah, you're right. It looks a lot like Sweet Tooth,
Uh-huh.
didn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you yourself, you know that I will do anything to help anybody if I can. I might be a little slow at it because my life is busy, but I eventually get it done. You
One
know,
thing I will tell you right now, I will not be mad at so because anybody that does these for me, like I've always been grateful. In personal life, I rather you take care of more than a video game. That's how I see it. Personal life before this. This is a hobby, not a
not
lifestyle.
not C2CW. If you were not about C2CW, if you were not 100% about them, they could care less what went on in your personal life. If you wasn't there at their shows, you wasn't showing love. You wasn't supporting them. You wasn't deserving of title opportunities. You wasn't deserving of being on the show. Even if you promoted your ass off for a match, right, and a storyline, if you wasn't there for that particular show, you wasn't there to support them. Now, how
Yeah.
sad is that?
When somebody's trying to make a story and then it just kind of gets downplayed. Okay, we're going to roll with this instead. It's really depressing.
And I've had that happen more than once. I've had my stories completely overlooked, or and anybody in this chat who was part of C2CW can verify this. Twisted to Blue's vision to the point that it was no longer an individual story. Why? I wanted to make it more exciting. I wanted to involve others. I wanted to do this, that, or the other. It's not about what you want if it's somebody else's story, right or wrong.
Yes, I fully agree. Welcome, Josh Hopkins. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Elvis.
Now, now you now you're in a better place. Now I would say
Mm-hmm. Much
you're
better, much better.
TPW as far as I'm concerned. Unless you're elsewhere, I don't know about it.
No, TPU is the only EFED I'm in right now because I simply just do not have time or capability to be in a second one. Would love to join Sages, but I can't. I've got so much going on here in real life. I've got so much going on, personally and other hobbies that I have re-fallen in love with that I can't just join a second um a second EFED company. I tried. I did. I tried to be a part of a second company while I was part of WAE here. I just couldn't do it. I physically cannot do it. Uh, I'm not able to be on my phone as much as I used to be for these promos and following like I used to. I'm just I've grown out of a lot of it, but at the same time, I still have love for e-fetting, and any place that I feel at home is my e-fed home, and I feel very much at home here. I have nothing bad to say about WAE or TPU, whatever you want to call it. It's the same company. It's ran by the same wonderful woman and has the same wonderful people that has always treated me like family.
Yeah.
Like a true family, not like the supposed family that C2CW was supposed to be. We have
They were trying to
people,
play something off like they were trying to be one way to you guys in a certain way, but then when things were not going their way, they started to treat you guys like absolute shit for nothing.
mhm. We have one person in here, I'm not going to say her name. She left C2CW and left that friendship, and she is here in TPU now and has become one of mine and Mary's closest friends. Well, I wasn't going to say it like that, babe, but let's call a spade a spade.
He exposed
Oh,
you. He exposed you.
I love her to death, and I would do nothing. I would change nothing. No. And
I
when
mean,
I'm
out of
not,
all the people I've seen her be with, I've not seen her this happy. So I'm happy that you make her happy, and I'm happy that you're happy.
it's funny you say that because my family has told her the same thing about me.
Oh,
Yeah, they have never seen me happier than I've been with her.
you guys complete each other. You make each
We
other happy.
do. We do, very much so. That's why I said that this, what she and I have, is the only good thing to ever come out of C2CW, in my opinion. That's the only thing I'm going to thank the C2CW for is us meeting. That's it.
Understood. Well, I'm glad something good came out of that experience, and I'm happy to where you are now. And that's I don't really have any more questions. I think we went for everything that we talked about in DMs. So, unless there's anything else that we're forgetting that you would like me to cover.
I want to do something different than your show, if you don't mind.
Oh,
Anybody in chat, if you have questions that you would like for me to answer about eFeds and stuff and my experiences, ask them now.
you heard him. You heard him, ladies and gentlemen. And Josh, we could definitely get one set up, brother. No problem. Just let me know a day and time. I do got a fifth episode of this planned with somebody called Daryl Williams, called The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly. But whenever you want to be on, we'll get that set up. But yeah, anybody that has questions for Carrie, please feel free to ask. Ask away.
I don't see anything. I just see folks enjoying themselves, which is wonderful to see.
Hey, these are my hats, okay? And I'm not Larry here. I'm Brandon. I don't go by any character name on this show. This is strictly out of character. What
Oh,
inspired you to do e-fetting? So from DSB.
okay. Yep. So what inspired me first was the desire to actually be a part of the wrestling world. I mentioned this before. Um, I don't know if you was in here when I went back and told some of my history. My cousin and I had always been big fans of wrestling, and uh, we had our own little company, WCWF, for our action figures, and we would act out the wrestlers, the matches, and stuff there. And wrestling has always just been a really big part of my life, and I love wrestling. And again, I at one time wanted to be a wrestler, but due to the injuries sustained in high school, I could not. So I delved more into the artistic side of things, writing, creativity, and eventually I was approached by Haven about joining a written EFED, and that's what started it all. Um, but the love of wrestling has always been there.
And it sounds like it's always going to be a part of your life in many different ways. Then do you still like watch anything of pro wrestling today? Not being WWE, it doesn't have to just be that, but like just anything.
That is a love and hate thing. Ever since WWE got sold to the current company and whatnot, the
TKO.
parent
Yeah.
company, yes, I don't watch it as much. You can ask Mary a lot of times if I watch anything wrestling related. It's from the '90s. It's from WCW. It's early Raw Attitude Era. I watch the older stuff more so than the newer stuff. When Taker when Taker retired and Bray passed away, that stopped a lot of my wrestling watching.
And Billy sent you guys links for the indie wrestling shows that he watches.
Yeah, I haven't really been able to check them out much. Again, I don't have a lot of time. I don't watch as much as I used to, but I do still watch when I can. Again, specifically WCW and the Attitude Era. I'm starting to sound like my parents. I watch what I grew up with,
Yeah,
because to me, that's when it was great. Okay? That's not to say that wrestling isn't good now. I would
it's
love
just
to
not the
tune
same.
in. I would love to tune in and watch more of the Wyatt Six and some of the other stuff that's going on, but it just doesn't hit the same. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
no, I that's what I was trying to say. Like back then, and like to a certain point, it's not the same as it was. Like because now I feel like the places that are mainly killing it, like I still watch WWE and all that. Don't get me wrong, but like I think the places that are like killing it right now are the indie wrestling scene. You know?
Okay, so AJ's got a good one here. He said, for someone who's trying to wrestle now at 22 years old, what advice can you give me before I attempt to step into the world of wrestling? Take it slow. Learn everything you can from the greats. Look for your Jerry Lawlers. Look for your Dutch Mantels. Um, look for your ones that loved the business. Watch their stuff. Get under their learning tree. Find somebody like that who has a training school. Booker T is a great example. Find his training school, right? Find the ones who have passion for the business and who gave their all for the business. Don't find the ones that are in it for the glitz and glamour. Don't immediately try to go for WWE or AEW. Start small. Start at your local circuits. Start, like, if your town has a local wrestling event that happens every weekend or something, start there. Start building your repertoire there. Not only is those cheaper to go to, they also can give you stepping stones to get to the bigger schools and whatnot. My mother, if I had followed it and WCW stayed in business, she was going to take me from Bill Dundee's wrestling camp to WCW Power Plant. So start small. Do it because you like it. Do it because you love wrestling. And know that it's not just a job, it is straight up a lifestyle. You're on the road, away from family, more than 200 days a year. You need to live, eat, and breathe that lifestyle in order to succeed and thrive in it. That's what you need to look for, AJ. Don't just try to jump in and say, oh, I'm going to train here and then I'm going to go to WWE. It doesn't always work that way. And always, always, always have some kind of character, some kind of idea in your back pocket, because you might start one way and find that it doesn't work and need to pull something else out. Let's talk about Bray Wyatt a minute on this sort of thing. When he first broke into WWE, they brought him in as Husky Harris, right? A gimmick that was no good at all. So when they
Like the husky character. I've always been a fan of Bray, even in his husky character. I'm just admitting that right now.
Yeah, well, when he got the boot as Husky Harris, he went back to, I believe it was FCW or OVW.
Yes, Florida Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, he went somewhere and he invented the Bray Wyatt character, and he got that character inspiration from another person before, Waylon Mercy. If you go back into the 80s, early 90s WWE, look for that character, Waylon Mercy. You will see a lot of similarities. He took inspiration from, he did not copy. He turned it into his own thing. So when you do that, AJ, always have a backup character in mind. Some people will say the best wrestling gimmick is just yourself amped up to 11. No, the best wrestling gimmick is something that you can pull off, that you can relate to, that you can actually make the fans believe you are. The Undertaker, for many, many years, protected that gimmick. He would walk around in makeup, eyeliner, and he would literally act like a dead man. He was Taker from the minute he woke up to the minute that the cameras were off. Okay, you have to breathe that lifestyle. You have to be that character in order to be believed and noticed and picked up. So with that in mind, AJ, you really have to hone yourself and your character. Go back and watch some of the great promo deliverers. Go back and watch Rowdy Piper. Watch Mick Foley. Watch Bray Wyatt. Watch Kane. Believe it or not, yes, I said Kane. Watch Kane from his 2003 up to, say, 2008 era. Watch Kane. Watch Chris Jericho. Watch your good talkers. The ones who made their memorable characters are who you need to draw from. For your wrestling technique, watch your greats like Bret Hart. Watch Randy Savage. Watch Ricky Steamboat. Watch the people who knew the craft and could make you believe that what they did in that ring was real. Watch an all-arounder, Jake the Snake Roberts. Watch him. Really listen and pay attention to him and his character.
Whenever he talked, even like before he got into the preaching part of it, he always seemed like he was preaching even before he was preaching.
Jake Roberts is one of those that he never spoke loud. He didn't have to. He
Exactly.
would purposely talk low, like I'm doing right now, and look directly into that screen as he's talking to you, man. He could deliver the DDT in a split second, and you'd believe it.
Exactly.
You would have to lean in to listen to Jake Roberts when he was on the microphone.
No matter if you loved or hate him, people wanted to listen to him, to what he had to say.
Even today,
Mm-hmm.
if you watched him in AEW, he was there for a short time. He gave a scathing promo to Cody Rhodes. And that's somebody
Yes.
else you need to watch. Watch Cody Rhodes, because he reminds me a lot of Dusty Rhodes.
Oh yeah, Dusty Rhodes. You bring up another one. He has one of the best promos of all time out there called "The Hard Times."
That's the one people refer to the most. Me personally, one of the promos that I watch a lot of is when Sting turned his back on the fans in WCW. It was the end of his Surfer right before he went to Crow Sting. Look that up.
Well, you have to remember, before he went to Crow Sting, he was coming out trying to prove himself to what's his face, Lex Luger and them. But then they didn't believe that he was with they didn't believe in him, and he cut a great promo.
That's the one I'm
And then,
referring to. You knew exactly what I was referring to.
yeah,
That's how great that one is. Really, really, AJ, really sit and listen to Cactus Jack promos, specifically Cactus Jack. Look up Kane Dewey, that's Cane Dewey. Look up that promo. Look up another one called Doink the Clown, Born Again, Matt Born Again, whatever it was in ECW.
yeah,
Look
I was about to
up.
say that was ECW. That was Matt Bourne.
Mhm.
Matt Bourne was the greatest doink always.
Yeah, look that up. And AJ, pay attention to how the greats present themselves, how they carry themselves in the ring and on their way out. You know what really drove people in to the Taker first? That bell toll, that entrance, that slow, methodical walk. I'm going to be the first to admit it. His in-ring skills are not the greatest. I've seen a lot better wrestling performers in the ring, but when it comes to being a character, when it comes to making you suspend your belief, Taker is one of the best.
Speaking of Taker fans, my Nana just popped in, and she's a huge Taker fan. That's her all-time favorite.
That's Mary's all-time favorite too, as far as I'm aware, is
Uh-huh.
Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason he's a lot of people's favorites, and it's just exactly what I said. It's how he carried himself, how he made you believe that he was a dead man. AJ, you have to make these fans and people believe in you. I'm going to steal one of Taker's phrases from his Hall of Fame speech. Perception is reality. You want people to believe you are this person, especially in the wrestling world. Seth Rollins is a big, big, big person to watch. He makes you believe he is just this absolute dick. Same with Miz. But if you ever see them outside of the ring, and it's very, very rare, they're completely different. Bray was another like that. He made you believe that he was this cult leader, that he was sadistic, that he was just out there possessed, for lack of a better term. But there's a clip going around where he met a little boy backstage, and he literally opened up the guardrail and went out, crouched down, took a little picture with that boy. All smiles. Yes, you're right, Mary. Taker is the meaning of true kayfabe, and Kane is right there with him. Kane, for many, many years, protected his gimmick. Mick Foley, same way. People who protect their gimmick are the ones you need to look to. Any other questions from anybody? I'm more than happy to answer. Anything from you, Brandon? Did I jog anything you wanted to know?
I already asked all my questions I needed to.
Okay. Well, if there's no other questions or anything like that, I don't want to keep people's time, and supper doesn't cook itself.
Ooh, what are you having for supper? What do you got planned?
I think I'm going to do spaghetti tonight. If I could meet any wrestler, who would it be? Living, dead, or both? DSB.
Oscar, Lita, and I'm playing.
Maybe how about you answer for both, Carrie, if they're alive or dead? How about you answer for both?
Yeah, he just said both. So living currently, I would want to meet Taker, not only because he's my all-time favorite, but I would love to just listen to his stories and be under his would want to as much as I want to say Bray, I'm going to say Eddie Guerrero
Eddie Guerrero.
because of the family that he comes from, the history that he has, and just the respect that I have for Eddie as both a performer and a wrestler. So I believe I'd want to meet Eddie. Go ahead, AJ.
I do have one more thing to say. Aaron will be having big chances with this new development that happened today.
No spoilers. People who watch TPU, you better start paying attention.
China Taker Stone Cold for Mary.
Mm-hmm. Austin would have a pretty good learning tree, yeah.
I want some of his beer. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you know Taker has a wine out?
Yes, and he's also a part of Death Row Records with his wife now, thanks to Snoop Dogg.
Taker's got his icy cold fingers in a lot of projects, even after his retirement.
Well, yeah, him and aren't they in like real estate or whatever it's called, like housing or whatever
I
it's called?
believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, may China rest in peace. May Bray Wyatt rest in peace. Ooh, Bray Wyatt, Mark Henry, and The Rock. Those are three great names.
It is. It's very good ones. You know, everybody's got their favorites they would want to meet and learn from. For me, it always leans closer to the people with the psychology. I think you kind of gleaned that from me earlier with the people that I named, the psychology of the wrestling and the performing. And that's a big reason I was able to give the advice that I gave you, AJ. I've never been a wrestler, but I, at 36 years old, have watched and done a lot of research and know a lot about the business itself.
I'm surprised Taker doesn't do movies. Loved him as the Soul Chaser and Poltergeist: The Legacy.
That was kind of a one-off thing. I don't think Taker has it in him to do the glitz and glam of movies. There's
he also was in Suburban Commando, but nobody ever talks about that too.
Yeah, no. As far as I'm concerned, that movie don't exist. Suburban what?
Gosh, I had to argue with my dad for a minute. Dude, that's Undertaker. No, it's not Undertaker. Yes, it is that.
Yeah,
Uh,
not all superstars from wrestling have it in them to be an actor in Hollywood, and Taker's one of those. Um, Kane, he was absolutely phenomenal in See No Evil. I wish he would do
oh,
more.
yes. Yes, Kane is my number one in WWE of all time. When he first came into WWE, when he ripped the door off the hinges, that wasn't even planned, and he talks about how he was scared of that. Like he was scared to be in the ring with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, and when he had that first stare down with his brother, The Undertaker, even though it's kayfabe, I still see them as brothers. I will always see that.
But you got to understand where Glenn was coming from first. He had two failed gimmicks in WWF at the time,
He had
and
Fake Diesel, and then he had
you know,
Isaac Yankem. But if you
yep.
remember, he also had gimmicks elsewhere, like in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. He was the tag team partner of Al Snow,
He had the personas of
the Christmas creature.
Unabomb, the
The
Christmas
Christmas.
creature, which you do not mention that to him. He will absolutely kill you if you mention Christmas
Uh-huh.
creature to him.
He's even
Just
referred to it on WWE and like some other like segments because remember during that Raw Christmas party in 2002, he looks like some kind of Christmas creature.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just he. No, he's so him being nervous about that debut. It's normal. You know, he had that tryout as Kane in a untelevised match with the cape on and stuff. You only see one picture of that around, and it's obvious that he would be nervous in that sort of setting, especially since Mark Taker, however you want to call him, put in so much word. He didn't want to let Taker down and make him and himself look bad in front of Vince. So
Because they
yeah, I
needed
could.
something for the rivalry for Undertaker and Shawn because it was getting too stale, but they wanted to almost keep it going. Hell in a Cell was made for Kane,
Yes,
but
indeed.
he only competed in a few.
And lost
But
more of
still,
them
it
than
was
he
made for
won,
Kane.
but we're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
That's a completely different topic, like the mistreatment of Kane and the character, but we're not going to go there.
Oh, yeah. I will always love Kane no matter. I always stuck by Kane. Kane was my guy. Everybody loved Undertaker being their first. Kane was my first.
But see, you're like me. The presentation of such a character, and the psychology of being in that type of character, you for the longest time believed that he was a monster, that he was actually burned under that mask. But when the mask
Oh, he'll
came off,
always be a monster to me, even when he has the mask off. He will always be a monster to me.
he
I hear he's
became
like such
more
a
of a
nice
monster
guy.
with the mask off.
Yeah. Like those that eye thing that he has and like that whole storylines, like how he like was developing of like how he had that like fanboy gimmick in the 2000s, but then when he got the mask taken off, when he set JR on fire, electrocuted Shane McMahon's
hmm
balls.
And that's what I was alluding to earlier, AJ. Watch stuff like that really make people believe your character. You may not get it right the first 5, 6 times. Before Bray Wyatt passed, his demon form that you saw in Royal Rumble when he fought
LA Knight.
LA Knight was called Six, literally. And that was where Wyatt Six stemmed from. That was the sixth incarnation of Bray Wyatt. Think about that.
Yeah. If anybody's ever followed that.
So you may go through many gimmicks, but always have some
Anybody's balls.
have something in your back pocket, AJ. If you're serious about going into wrestling, always have something in that back pocket, whether it's a scathing interview or a character that is just off the wall that you think would never work. Try it. Look at Gold Dust. Look at Doink the Clown. Look at Rocky Maivia, how he became The Rock. Look at Road Dogg. Look at all these characters that I have mentioned. they had previous gimmicks before. Goldust worked, but Dustin Rhodes did not.
He
Goldust
was the
worked.
original American Nightmare that everybody forgets. That's where Cody got it from.
Yep. Goldust worked, but Seven in WCW did not. Goldust
Oh
worked,
gosh.
but Black
I
Rain
don't
in
think we can
TNA
talk
did
about
not.
that. I don't think we could talk about that 7 game because of how creepy it started out. Then they gotta,
But we
yeah.
have to. This is Dark Side of Wrestling. You have to.
No,
And
this
he
is the dark
asked,
side of Efeds. I was just faking. This is ain't the dark side of the ring.
but he had a great question, and I'm just letting him know. Just because it doesn't work one way doesn't mean it won't work another way.
Ooh, who's Kimberly Roberts? Is this your sister?
She's a friend of mine, a good
Oh,
friend of mine from elementary school. You could say she's a sister, yeah, but
okay.
she's been a friend of mine since elementary school.
For some reason, I was thinking your last name was Roberts, even though it's white. So I was like, hey, it's your sister.
Yeah, no, um, but Kim, she's been a really good friend of mine for many, many years, and she can verify. I've been a wrestling fan since I was knee high to a grasshopper. Yeah, that was one of the first things she and I talked about. Um,
Was wrestling?
but yep.
Huh. Yeah, she seems to know her people.
Mary says,
She
keep a rubber
voted
chicken
Matt
in your
Borne.
back pocket, AJ.
Dustin as the natural was awesome, says Billy.
he was, but when you think of Dustin Rhodes, who do you really think of? You think of Goldust. That's my point.
Depending
AJ,
who you are, I'm not going to say it that's always true, depending who you are.
most people
Because
know him
there's
as
a wide
Goldust.
variety of wrestling fans, and I think you can't agree. Like AJ, I don't know if he's ever told you the story, but he joined in he knew about wrestling in the 2017 era.
2017, Goldust was pretty much out of the picture, but he'd come back every now and then, yes?
Yeah, but still, though, we can't say that that's going to be everybody's first thought, though. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
Yeah, because there's even people still getting into wrestling today. How do you think that they're like? I've talked to people that get into it today, right? They don't know who Kane is. That's scary to me. They don't
No,
know who an Undertaker is. They know who a John Cena is. Do they know who an Undertaker is? No.
that's my point.
Yeah.
When one of the things lacking today is suspension of belief and of there being actual characters. Most every wrestler you look at now is just an extension of their actual personality.
Yeah.
They're under the impression that wrestling is just yourself amped up to an 11. Okay? There is not any real good gimmicks. The only gimmick characters that you could actually classify as gimmick characters right now, in my opinion, as far as WWE goes, is the Wyatt Six. Okay? Right or wrong. When you look at Jacob Fatu, you look at the Usos, you see the Samoan lineage of The Rock. You hear The Rock's relatives. You hear this. It all goes back to, the Anoa'i family. Okay? It's an extension of themselves amped up to an 11 is all that is, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at Bo Dallas with the Uncle Howdy gimmick, that is a gimmick. That is a character. That is somebody that he is portraying not only out of love and tribute to his brother, but because it works. When I hear Bo Dallas now, I don't think of B Team. I don't think of Bo Dallas. I think Uncle Howdy.
Oh, you don't think of Bo leaving? I'm just kidding.
No, I don't. Because
Gosh.
to me, he is so much better as Uncle Howdy. When I hear the name Dexter Loomis, I don't think of him as the creepy blonde mustachioed stalker. I think of him as Mercy the Buzzard now because it works. It works. It's a character. It's different. It makes you suspend belief. It lets you see something besides the human and normal uh, sort of thing, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, I get exactly what you're saying.
Rowdy Piper, I didn't see, a typical Scotsman or Irishman, whatever you want. I saw the hot rod. Okay, when I see Hulk Hogan, I didn't see Terry Bollea. I saw Hulk Hogan. Anytime I looked out if I looked out in the crowd and I saw a wrestler, I know that character before I know the person. And that's what you want.
The Sheik was somebody that also, when we talk about gimmicks, that actually kept to their
Yes,
gimmick at home. The
the
Sheik.
Iron
Not the
Sheik.
Iron Sheik, but the Sheik.
Well, yeah. There's a difference, yeah.
Very big difference. Two different individuals. Way too different.
Yep. Now, there are exceptions to the rules of great characters and great gimmicks. Terry Funk is one of those. Terry Funk, you see him, what you get. That's Terry Funk. But when you pull in Mick Foley, you get Mankind, you get Dude Love, you get Cactus Jack. You get three characters that Mick Foley pulled off and made work.
Yeah.
I could sit down to a casual wrestling, viewer from the 90s who doesn't know any of the superstars' real names or anything like that. I could say Mick Foley to one person and be like, who? And then I'll be like, all right, Mankind. They're like, oh, I know who that is. You see? That's the difference.
Oh my God, Piper, don't forget Savage, whole wife gimmick, or Psycho Vicious. Laugh out loud, or the narcissist, Mr. Perfect, along with Mr. Kennedy. Now, I do want to touch base on Mr. Perfect. The reason they call him that is because he was just perfect. That's just a sad fact. He was perfect.
So they say, anyway.
I
But the
mean, he
narcissist,
did
when you
everything
hear
perfectly. Drop kicks were perfect. His dives were perfect. Everything was perfect. It was
Yep.
Chef's kiss.
Yep. So
Mick
when you
Foley,
think
aka Cactus Jack, and Mankind.
when you think of the narcissist, a lot of people don't think Lex Luger anymore. But when you say Lex Luger, because he developed his Lex Luger gimmick in WCW as Lex Luger, you know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
I could say Sid Justice, and most people wouldn't know that that was Psycho Sid. When you say Psycho Sid, they're like, oh, or Sid Vicious, oh. That's what you need to look for and try to do, AJ. You need to develop that persona, not, fall into the same pitfall of a John Cena. Let's just call a spade a spade. As great as he is, John Cena was John Cena amped up to 11. 5 moves of doom. That's not a knock on Cena. He's had a great career and he did a lot for WWE. But he is not a great character. He is not a great gimmick. And that's what's lacking so much in wrestling these days. And that's part of the reason I don't watch it so much now. When I go to watch wrestling, I want something that is going to suspend my belief. I watch wrestling to be entertained and to love the stories and the feats that I see in the ring. I don't watch wrestling to look at reality. If I want to watch reality, all I gotta do is look out a window. That's
Yeah.
why I don't watch reality TV. If I want to watch reality TV, I look out a window. I go to the park. I watch TV wrestling to get away from reality. And that's what you need
understood.
to do, AJ.
Well, thank you for that advice to him, and thank you everybody for showing up on here. I think we are going to end it right there after this beautiful discussion. Thank you for having it with me, Carrie. Is there anything you would like to say before we get off?
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for backing me.
Of course. Of course,
All right.
anytime. You're always welcome on here. There's always a spot for you whenever you want to. If you ever just want to come on and express anything, you're welcome to. Um, yeah, it was an honor for you to even come on here and give us your time. Thank you again, and I do hope the rest of the day and night goes well.
I appreciate it. I got to get supper going and get ready for D&D.
You enjoy that. And everybody else, we hope you guys have a great day, good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever y'all may be. Peace out.
Have a good night.